go. Welcome to another podcast with Harvesting Wisdom. I'm your host, Mike McMahon. I'm here at the School of International Management and Business Management at Thunderbird School of Management at ASU. Did I get that? Okay, yeah. And I started driving to 43rd Avenue in Thunderbird today. That shows you how in touch I am. So we're here today with students and some staff, and we're going to be talking a little about ecotourism that we've got coming up and some other projects we have in different parts of the world, but in Arizona as well. We have the film festival, which is going to be right down the light rail where you guys are. So hopefully you'll be part of that. Welcome to the podcast, and go ahead and give us your first names.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Faith Chambala, and I'm a student doing a master's in global management, majoring in global business.
Great. Thanks, Faith.
I'm Jacqueline Nampera, master's in global management. I'm concentrating in global business, and I'm originally from Uganda.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Robarashe Kajiti. I'm doing my master's in global business, focusing on business. My background is in agriculture economics, and that is what I did for my bachelor's.
Oh, great. All right. So you guys kind of heard about what we've got going on, and two out of the three here are from Zimbabwe. So I don't know if an ecotourism trip to Zimbabwe would be fun for you or not, but what we actually do want is 1 out of every 10 people to kind of be they call it the babysitter, but the person who can help be the tour guide while we're there, because we want to try to keep groups kind of together and happy and that kind of thing. So you guys are pretty familiar with. Are you from the city or from Bulawayo or from what parts of?
I'm actually from the city. I was born in Harare.
Okay.
It was
All right.
Zimbabwe. So going to the countryside has not that been often, but I've also participated in ecotourism here and there.
Okay.
Yeah, occasionally some holidays, but not really so much.
So it'd be fun. And you?
I'm from the city, but when you're in Zimbabwe, you've got two homes. That is the city and where you come from.
Your village.
The rural areas.
Uh-huh.
So we go there holidays, but I've got a full idea of both the city and.
Have either of you been to Bulawayo? Have you been to Zimbabwe?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I just wanted to add on that.
You have been?
Yeah. I just wanted to add on that sometimes, yes, some people have two homes, but for some, they only have one home and they're born in urban areas. And so they never get to experience what literally happens in the villages, or don't get to say where food comes from. So for such kind of individuals, this project would literally expose them to these other farming methods.
Yeah, and we're seeing that worldwide. 80% of the people on the planet now have moved into cities. And with industrialism, with global trade, we've kind of lost touch of what's happening with the environment and certainly how to grow food. And that's not just unique to Africa. We see it. We were just in Mongolia, and we were interviewing in Gers nomads, people who've worked the land for years and years and years. And even with them, I think there were two brothers and a sister that were older that had been doing this, and they went through communism, through the Soviet. Wasn't technically Soviet, I guess it would have been, they would consider it socialism that was going on in Mongolia. But then they went into capitalism. And now they're still doing what they're doing. But I asked them how many children, between the three of them, they had 13 children, how many of them are going to be, nomads doing this kind of lifestyle, and only one. So you can see, so what happens as we go into a city is we start losing touch with, anything cultural, and it becomes a museum piece.
Yeah.
I'm in places in Africa, and they have, in Zimbabwe, in Bulawayo, they have a in one of the schools, they had a traditional home, kind of like, I don't know if you call that a tent or what the term would be. But, okay, a hut, right? And they've done it at the school. And I'm like, why is this here? So the students can see what it was like, and all you have to do is, go 10 miles away and you can still see people living like that. But it's a different world, right? So I would love to ask you questions because you're in this now in Global School of Management. What does that mean? What does it mean for you guys? Are you going to stay in the United States or go to Europe, or are you going to go back to your countries? How are you going to take what you're doing here and make a living, or try to make changes or help people?
Yeah, I think for some of us, like speaking for myself, my options are wide. Coming to America, it doesn't mean the fact stops here or this is the end in Excel. But yeah, I'm leaving my options quite open. And the reason also of coming is just for the internationalization type of thing, like to explore, to go global. So this was the right course also for me. Like I've been in Africa for all my career and everything else. So I wanted to explore, see how the world is doing it, how we can also try to implement what is being done out there back to our countries.
Okay.
Yes, if opportunities arise. So yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I mean, to add on to what Faith has said, with me, one thing that Thunderbird literally teaches us, or what it carries, is a global mindset. And us being T-Birds or Thunderbird students, we literally have that. And so it would be so unfair of me to literally restrict myself to either the US or just my country, because I feel like I have much to offer to the world. And wherever opportunities go, as long as I can add value, I think I'm open to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as for me, the plan is to be the Minister of Agriculture in my country.
Oh, yeah, good connection for us then.
Yeah.
Hey, great.
So when I was doing my academics throughout the years, I noticed that the managing directors, the ministers, they all did their masters in America. So I thought maybe that's like a thing.
Yeah.
But when I was looking at it, I noticed that Thunderbird is more like a global place, and it has everyone and like every countries. And when I was in Zim, I always thought that was the end. But coming here, it has opened like my ways of thinking in different ways, because we learn different things in a more global way. And we're not just specializing into Africa or just Zimbabwe. We're learning about every other different things. Yeah. So being the minister is the end goal.
Yeah, so that's a great goal. I love it. But to know what you want to do this early in your game plan is great. Who's going to stop you?
Hopefully
So,
not.
well,
Before that better.
so it's interesting because don't want to tell you how many decades ago I was doing environmental studies and environmental science, and there was an old saying, I don't even know if it's still out there. It was think global and act local. And that was kind of the theme. They twist and change things, and it used to be holistic problem solving. Now it's sustainability. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're putting new words on an old concept, but it is important to see how some of these things are doing, and that's what our goal overall in urban farming education is. And I threatened at one point to finish the 4 different books that I'm writing, but I do have one on 7 guideposts of agricultural literacy that I wrote a paper with Dr. Verlillo that gets published in Biology magazine pretty soon in the importance of education. We talk about all these different things that we're doing at urban farming, but our core is we have a platform where we take standards and create curriculum for students from preschool to 18 years old, senior level in high school or secondary school, Form 4, would that be? So the idea is that we currently have 1 quarter worth pretty much finished, We break it into 4 different patterns, but we're using 4 different pedologies or teaching methods that we feel are important game changers for how people learn. And in Africa, I don't know if in Zimbabwe or Uganda you call students learners, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so that's the same. But the idea with our platform is that it can be adapted anywhere. So we give that to you as the Minister of Agriculture, and we want to see it, put into schools. So we do professional development. It's STEM. It's a STEM program that is garden-based. So we're doing the opposite of what Bill Gates asked for, which is a computer in every home. And instead, it's like, don't bring your computers, don't bring your phones, put them away. That's more important in the industrialized world in the U.S. because there's a lot of mental illness now associated with social media and with people just connected to their phones and not connected to community. I think Africa's at a crossroads where we haven't completely destroyed all the soil or all the animals, and people are still living at a community level. And we're at a point now where I think as Africa emerges with agriculture, it doesn't have to adopt to all industrial agriculture. It can be more sustainable, more holistic, and more regenerative. So be curious to see. I'll send you a copy of the guidepost. But because we have to go and talk to a few other people, just one question: you guys interested in going back over to Zimbabwe for the summer for a couple of weeks?
Definitely.
Have you been to a seed bank before?
No,
Have you been to one in the one in Bulawayo? Icarus. Okay. Go back to your own home and see. It's an amazing seed bank, and they are trying to. They have collected probably millions of different seeds, thousands of different plants, and that biodiversity of plants is really important because there's different nutrition values that can be done. When I met with it's all PhD women from Zimbabwe that run it, and when I met with them, coincidentally we were in Karonga, Malawi, like the week before, and the UN or USAID, I can't remember which of them, did an analysis, a health analysis of the women in that community, and they were all low in iron. So I was like, oh, what should we use? What could I think of or whatever? And, taking an American crop or whatever, in my mind, wasn't going to work. But we went to the seed bank, and I started telling them about my hatred of maize. And she said, oh, great, because we have these different crops that were used in Africa traditionally way before maize was ever used. And finger millet, for instance, she was showing me, this finger millet is high in iron.
Yeah.
So that's where that global outlook helps. So, and I said, can I get some of that and bring it to Karonga? She said, of course. So that's how things work when you're kind of looking at these global issues, but you're looking from the standpoint of how you can intervene on a local basis. I think you get more done or more reward. You have more impact for sure on that local basis, because everything when it gets top driven in our governments and the UN or the WHO or whoever else is involved, we see a tremendous amount of graft. We see a bunch of inefficiency. So that we approach things at that community level. So hopefully we see you guys there and see you at the film festival. Hopefully we have some films that were based in Africa as well as here, but a lot of agriculture-based films. Some are air quality, some are water quality, and these are kind of cool issues that, and it's not a zero-sum game. you can still go out and make a bunch of money if that's your goal, and still do your thing. But, you can do that without forgetting where you come from, or working with people to help people. And that's kind of what we do with urban farming. So
Actually, that's what I've been also working on. So I started up a business way back, and it was mainly to help people back home, basically get opportunities abroad. I've worked with NGOs. So I have had my previous education abroad, and I had to take that back home. And now it's like I'm investing more to see what else I could take back home. So that's how I kind of work.
yeah, and it's anything you do is a struggle, right? So startups here in the U.S., I think 90% of startup companies fail, right? So there's no easy path. Being educated, being a little more worldly, and understanding some of the patterns helps you, I think, with whatever that journey may be. But it's worth it to keep trying, even if each attempt you feel like you're getting punched in the face every time you try to do something good. And there's people that are doing good in the countries we're at, and that's why we do it. It's like if we can help one small community or one school, or just a few students, a few learners, or some of the schools in their structure, maybe teaching better. Don't know as much about Zimbabwe school system, but in Malawi, it's about exams. They're always taking exams. And I'm asking, well, what are you doing with exams? They're not learning from an exam. Let's skip the exams. Come out to the garden and let's talk about how biology works and chemistry works. And so I've been talking with the Maris brothers we work with, and they're throughout the region too, about, let's have less emphasis. What difference does it make if you pass your exams and when you're done, you don't have a job?
Yeah.
Or, you're not qualified to do anything. You can't even grow food because nobody showed you how to do that as well. So that's my, I can get on a rampage and I'll keep going.
It's
But
more theory than practical.
right.
Yeah, but again, maybe I guess we are running out of time. But
Before we switch up, I know that Sarah invited me to a great event here on Friday. So do you have any events or things that you're looking forward to? I've lived in Arizona for over 20 years, and I don't know much about Thunderbird, so we want to kind of fill in that narrative. So I'm going to give each of you a chance to talk about an upcoming event or something special about Thunderbird School of Global Management. So we'll start on the end and work our way over. Tell us an upcoming event or something special about your experience here.
so maybe I'll start. Thunderbird always has events, that's for sure. Like even as we speak right now, we have competitions happening downstairs. We always have seminars happening, but one of the biggest events that is coming this week is the regional night. And this happens every semester. We focus on specific regions. The last time it was the Americas, and the previous year, I think it was Asia, right? So we keep interchangeably with continents. And that's always like an awesome event because we get to appreciate each other's cultures and, language. And it's always more of an interactive session, more fun as we continue to integrate ourselves into other people's cultures. So that is one of my favorites, I would say.
Isn't it interesting as you travel? So you guys came from Africa. You may have been here before or whatever, but assuming this is your first time, you come here and you look, and in your mind, you pictured something.
Yeah.
Like, how do you picture something when you've never been somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can go on the computer and look at images or whatever, but it's not the same. When we travel, at first I look and I'm like, wow, this is different. But after a little while, I realize people are people. Yeah. They still have to get up every morning. They have to struggle. They have to eat. They have to do their thing. And more importantly, it's the same world. Mm-hmm. And somehow in my mind, I'm going to go to this other area, Mongolia or, Namibia or whatever. And yes, there's there's certainly different things. There's different features, sand dunes or oceans and the way things are. But really, what I see is that it's the same planet.
Yeah.
And the planet has the same problems everywhere, different causes, but it's the same issues that we're dealing with. And those will be issues that you guys will be hopefully part of understanding and solving, because we are running into trouble with everything being extremely polluted. You talk about Asia, 70% of the water in Asia is not drinkable. And we talk in the United States here in Arizona, we're in a desert, but that water underground is slowly going away. So we have these issues. So, okay, that's the event coming up. Did she steal your thunder, or do you guys have something?
No. So if you can just allow me finish there. So in terms of sustainability, we have been running a cloth drive where we do collect clothes that, you could, maybe they don't fit you, or it's just like you're tired of it, but it's still functionable. So we've been collecting clothes, and therefore we're going to be making an exchange, and that is happening this week on Thursday.
All right.
Yeah, so I just wanted
You
to
got
pass
something
it
going almost every day, every week. You should. What do you want?
Thing I can say is great about Thunderbird is they really care about the students they have, mainly because there's always events about employers coming. They always make sure that there are employers coming all the time. Every time I see my email, there's always something going on. And I think that is very great because not only do they just give us the education, but they also bring opportunities to us. And that is something very cool. And it's something that I never had from my previous school, whereby after you graduate, you have to go by yourself. But yeah.
And I got to say, I was at ASU downtown Tempe campus and a graduate, but it wasn't student-centric. It just wasn't. And there wasn't, you got out of school, it's like good luck, whether or not you got a job. It wasn't geared the same way. Now, that was a long time ago, and I know things have changed across the world in universities, but Thunderbird, I think, was always a special, even before ASU took it over. So it's great to see that culture that is student-centric is still part of it. And it's hard to get into the School of Thunderbird. You guys must be smart, right? It's really, this is not an easy school to get into. So
Maybe adding on also to what she said about how Thunderbird integrates everyone. We are making global setup. So even opportunities, even here, Thunderbird, things like TA positions, like to be a teaching assistant. It's not like it's for this group of people. It is everyone. As long as you are able to do it, you are intelligent enough, you get the opportunity. So that's something also that we are really.
you guys are practicing more peace games. You don't have a war game room. We have that in the real life.
I guess.
So you guys are dealing more with
we have
cooperation, huh?
very. And that again also starts here because we have like over 26 clubs, like student clubs.
Wow.
From corporate to sustainability to business, like it's all over. And as students being leaders, that again trains us to, be good stewards of whatever expertise that we want to be in. But we also have like very supportive faculty, I would say. They're always available and always willing to support and provide mentorship to whatever student is in need. So
Well, we always are looking for volunteers, and I think I almost heard you guys saying that you want to volunteer.
100%.
Because you just have to pick a project, whether it's going back to your own country or to youth there. We also have the film festival. We talked yesterday about the idea that we are bringing in major films from all over the world, and we also have businesses that are sponsoring. We're involved with Tempe, Mesa, Phoenix. So it's a great way for you guys to get your voice out there. And we learn by listening, but we participate by standing up and talking, right? So I'd never go to a conference unless you're talking at it. That was something someone taught me a long time ago. Even if I don't have that much to say, at least I know I'm participating. So appreciate the three of you coming here to
Thank you for joining the Harvesting Wisdom podcast. Click subscribe and like for ongoing insightful conversations. Explore our webpage for show notes and additional resources. Visit our guests' webpage for deeper insights. Your engagement is the foundation of our journey, and until next time, keep pursuing wisdom.